thought I was protecting my kids by hiding the drinking. What I was actually doing was teaching them that silence is how men handle pain. Most fathers who struggle with depression, anxiety, or past trauma, they think they're the only ones paying the price. They carry it quietly. They tell themselves, at least I'm the one suffering. At least it's not landing on my children and my family. But here's the truth. The law of sowing and reaping hasn't been revoked. It is still operating. And the question is, who's doing the reaping? In this video, I'm going to show you how establishing one boundary can stop you from passing your pain to the next generation. I'm a man of faith, and I read the Bible. And in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, it reads, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for whatever one sows, that will he also reap." Let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with this for a minute and a second. What are your kids, your family, your wife reaping from what you've been sowing? There's a book called Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. I've added it to the list of books recommended in my channel description. I do receive a small payment when you purchase through my link. But in this book, starting in chapter 5, the authors lay out 10 laws of boundaries. And the first one is the law of sowing and reaping. And it's kind of like cause and effect. Every seed produces a harvest. Every pattern has a consequence. Now, that may sound simple to some of you, and most of us learn this in our own lives from time to time, I know. But the authors point out something that stopped me cold. They said, sometimes people don't reap what they sow because someone else steps in and reaps the consequences for them. Wow. They call these people interrupters in the book. Stay with me on this because this is going to help you. It's helped me. Here's how it plays out in a man's life. So you're struggling. You have depression, you have anxiety, and maybe trauma you never dealt with from your past. And you carry it because that's what men do. We don't talk about it. We don't really want to name it. And you just push on through it. But while you're pushing through, this is what's happening. Your wife is absorbing your emotional absence. Your family is experiencing some things. Your son is learning that anger is how men communicate. Your daughter is learning that love feels like distance. You think that you're the only one paying the price, right? I want you to know you are not. The writers in that book also say it plainly. They said rescuing a person from the natural consequences of their behavior enables them to continue in irresponsible behavior. The law of sowing and reaping has not been revoked or stopped. It is still in operation. But the doer is not suffering the consequences, someone else is. Again, I want to say that because it's very important. The doer is not suffering, someone else is suffering. For the father who's absent in a person's life, emotionally, spiritually, physically, The children become the reapers. And here's the part that should keep you awake at night. You may not even see it happening. You know why? Because children don't hand you a report card on your fathering ability. They just absorb, they adjust, they learn to cope with the version of you that isn't whole or well. And then one day they're 30 years old, 50, 40, or even, you know, 60 and some, they're sitting in their car wondering why they can't seem to walk through the door of their own home. Now, here's where it gets complicated. Ready? Buckle up. Buckle up. Some fathers, because of their past failure to show up, become codependent toward their children during the maturity years of the child's life. They overcompensate. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? They rescue them. They interrupt the natural consequences their child needs to face. And why do you think that is? The biggest reason is guilt. A man who knows he failed feels unworthy to set boundaries. He thinks, who am I to correct my son when I was absent from his life for 10 years or more? And who am I to say no to my daughter? Or she can't do something when I wasn't even there to protect her in the first place. So he becomes what we call the interrupter. Here's the cycle. Watch this closely now. A father wounds a child through absence. A father feels guilt. A father becomes codependent, rescues, overcompensates, refuses to say no, and the result is a child never learns responsibility. The child grows into dysfunctional adulthood. And that cycle repeats until something is done about it. In Proverbs 22:6, it works in both directions. Train up a child and he will not depart. But when you fail to train them up, they still go somewhere, just not where you hoped they would go. And the bottom line is, you're not healing. And you are passing down your struggle. So what do you do? Set two boundaries. One aimed at yourself and one aimed at your children. In boundary one, let yourself reap what you've sown. Stop letting guilt convince you that you need to suffer forever. A lot of men, especially men of the faith, they get stuck right here. They believe the lie that their suffering is payment for their lack of presence. That if they stay miserable long enough, somehow the debt gets cleared. But I want you to know it doesn't. But Christ already paid that debt for you. Your job is to change your way of thinking. This is called repentance and healing, not self-punishment. When you step back into the role of the reaper, when you own what you've sown and bring it to the cross of Christ, you stop your children from absorbing what was never theirs to carry. And then there's boundary number two. Let your children reap what they sow. This is harder, I know, especially for moms. Stop being the interrupter. When you rescue your children from the natural consequences of their choices, especially in their maturity years, you disable them. I'm going through this right now with one of my children. You're not protecting them. You're preventing them from becoming adults. A son who never faces consequences becomes a man who blames everyone else for his problems. And then a daughter who's never told no becomes a woman who can't set boundaries of her own. The most loving thing you can do as a father is let them reap. Let them reap. Boundaries help the pretending man become a better father, a better husband, a better leader. Boundaries help the sower in the interim become the reaper. You see how this works? And the obstacle is guilt. I said it already, but it bears repeating because guilt is what keeps the cycle spinning out of control. You can't undo the past. I can't undo the years I wasn't the father I should have been. And you know what? Nobody can. But here's what you can do. You can establish a boundary today that changes what your children reap tomorrow. The law of sowing and reaping still works in your favor. And this is the thing, when you start sowing presence, protection, truth, the harvest, it shifts. You don't need to be perfect. You do need to be present, and you need to be honest. Direction over busy work. Remember, direction over busy work. Stop running harder on the treadmill of performance. Stop trying to make up for the past by doing more. This is what you do. Just do this. Establish the boundary. Today, listen, I put 4 questions in the video notes below. I want you to grab a pen, paper, and answer them honestly. Not for me, for you. And so here's what I know, though. And I say this over and over again in every video. You are not broken. Every video I say that. You're not broken. You're wounded, and wounds can heal. You don't have to pretend here. You don't have to pretend anymore. Establish the boundary. Listen, this is Rescue the One. And listen, I mean this with my heart. You will never walk alone again. I want you to like, subscribe, share this video. Please comment and let me know if this is helping you. I'll see you in the next video.